once again. This is third video about EFT and what you should really know or must know or need to know. This video might be for more experienced practitioner who did level 3, level 2 already, and or level 3 especially. You might not know if you're a beginner and you're also considering doing more advanced EFT technique before you actually went to the level 1 and had a break in between to practice level 2 and had a break in between level 2 and level 3, and you had plenty of time to practice level 3 or level 2 techniques. There are techniques, EFT techniques out there that promise a faster approach, that promise a less traumatic approach with integrating. And if you don't know about EFT anything or how it works, is that once you get into specific past memories or past events, you can really get more specific and it can be more effective. However, people have, there is this thing we call trauma, and there are small traumas and that can have a major effect on people. There are bigger traumas such as abuse, accidents, and when I talk about abuse, a very common thing and never really discussed thing in society, or really not much, is sexual abuse. That's a really big trauma, or abandonment, and lots of things. And if you consider working with people who have these major traumas or these big traumas, and you then come across, through the tapping process, you come across to these memories, you don't want to dive, number one, you don't really want to dive into these really towards right at the beginning. You don't want to dive into those first memories, those memories that first come up. You don't want to ask the question, and I should really say this before, you don't want to ask the question if you're an EFT practitioner, or, when was the first time you experienced this? This is a question that is way down the lane, way down on the other side. You just really want to start with memories that are not the first one, when the habit, the pattern started. You don't want to dive right in and poke in the first memory, and that's a very big thing, number one. And number two, you want to once there are gentle techniques in level 2 where you can actually learn and just really take it easy, and then not to trigger the person. And then you don't really want to change the memories, because really to change the memories, you just tap. And there we work with aspects in EFT. Am I actually recording this? Yes. With aspects and with big traumas, you have loads of aspects, and just kind of like give you something to compare it with. Imagine a person's soul, or compare a person is like, is whole, yeah? And imagine, just to compare it with a puzzle, yeah? And I'm spelling this out, I might pronounce this the wrong way, is Puzzle. It might be like a puzzle. Those puzzles appear or happen when the person or when people experience really big traumas, especially in the first 7 years. So imagine, like, a trauma leaves them kind of like a puzzle or puzzled, and such traumas that are, these big traumas I was just talking about, they just leave that person in many pieces. And there are loads of different tribes, I'm talking indigenous tribes all over the place, all of the earth, and they used a thing that is called a soul retrieval. Yeah, I did a course back in the days 20 years ago or more, And I learned how to soul retrieve these parts that are kind of like splitting off, because with trauma, you see, when we experience a trauma, parts of us actually go and stay with that trauma, because otherwise we would re-experience that trauma over and over. So we have safely that part of us somewhere else, and it's not with us. It may sound a bit strange, but the next thing is when people feel empty, or they want to kind of, fill that hole they feel with alcoholic drinks, with drug abuse, addictions, anything, food, it could be anything, just to fill this emptiness. And they might not say, oh, I feel empty. They're just doing these things like drink a lot, eat a lot, just try to fill this hole, and with other substance. And, so the person is outside of their body, it's outside somewhere, and they're not really home, because they have experienced this big trauma, and a big part left. And, coming back to the puzzle, this is how it feels when one person experiences a really big trauma. That person experiences being split into many, many different pieces. And in order to reintegrate those pieces and bring them back home where they belong, we have to work on those memories that come up during an EFT session, or an ongoing EFT process where more sessions are involved. We have to bring back those pieces, but we have to do it in a gentle way. And yes, there are, with inner child work in level 3, we suggest, we give the choice. Do you want to associate, or do you want to disassociate with that younger part of yourself? And what I experienced on my own, having disassociate in memories, is that it's not actually beneficial. It's actually, when you start with level 2 techniques, you start gentle to peel from the outside, and you just gently go in. We call it a lather technique as well. You just kind of gently, don't kind of pierce right into the middle. That's a really bad thing, because it can just trigger a lot of stuff. Like, you have a glass of water and you've got debris on the bottom of this water, and you just kind of poke and stir. Lots of stuff stirs up, comes up, and it's just kind of one big emotional mess. And the person might actually not feel really well. And I guarantee you, if you poke in a big traumatic event, that person will not come back to you, because that person might not feel so well after you've been poking in the first memory. So I recommend, what I recommend is, I'm just telling you from my own experience, that yes, you just use the normal EFT created by Gary Gregg, those gentle techniques, and then you work your way into the middle very gently. And yes, with very big traumas, you can offer disassociate, but it doesn't really work with a lot of people or all people. It's often just very beneficial to associate. Yeah, so you can just start with gentle techniques, but then you really want this person to associate, because at the end of the day, we cannot run away from our emotions, and we are actually not offering the client or the person we work with the full benefits. Because when we then associate, that is the point of real healing and real reintegrating those lost parts that split off in the moment of trauma. Yeah, so you have to associate and ask the client, and then we use linear time thinking, because the time isn't actually linear. on a quantum perspective, or that includes every level. It's you use linear time from A to B to go through the event, even though, and that works, with events that the client or yourself, you don't actually remember this memory. It's just a vague sort of thing. But we have techniques in EFT, as you know, if you're a practitioner, that vagueness also gets us somewhere, but associating with those emotions are the real healing. And disassociating number one, doesn't work with everyone. And number two, in the long run, it does not bring the healing. And this is why I'm doing this video, because those are my first-hand experiences. Once you associate with the emotions in the memory, that is the real healing. And that's what I leave you with. I hope this was helpful information, and I'll see you in my next videos. Take care. Bye.